best music.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask. I just really hit the field. 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 Boy, I'm about to hit the field.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hitting the Field. Some of you may remember me, and for those who don't, I am a previous host of this wonderful show. I'm honored and thrilled to be back, especially for an episode like today. Today is the Ladies Show. Buckle up and sit down because you're definitely in for a treat. But before we begin, I'm going to introduce these lovely ladies to you. Girls, give a little wave when I say your name for me. So we have Emely Hernandez, we got China Davis, and we also have Kayla Burge. All right, so we're just going to hop right into it. I want everyone to give a quick story about themselves. I guess I'll start off by just giving a quick example. So my name's Jess. I've always been involved in sports from as far back as I can actually remember. The one sport that is very near and dear to my heart is hockey. I started playing when I was 8, and then I decided to start reffing at 15. I'm now 24, and it's almost been 10 years of officiating under my belt. People don't like to admit it, but I am living in a man's world when it comes to the sport that I chose, and I can honestly say that it's been nothing but positive for me, and it took a lot of backlash and a couple years to gain the confidence that I have, but honestly, I wouldn't change it for anything, and thanks to my love for passions of sports, it brought me to this show, and here we are today. Does anyone want to pick up right after me on that one?
No, yeah, like for me, I grew up the same way. I was always involved in sports as I was watching sports. My dad has a whole wall of like his sports memorabilia from the Dolphins and the Heat. So it's just something that was always a big part of my life. And then when I got to college, I kind of realized that I wanted to take it on as a career. And so it led me to the show.
Ugh, that's the best. That's the same thing that happened to me. I saw a little flyer and someone was like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "I'm in."
Yeah.
Emily, what about you?
For me, it's kind of like Kayla's story. So I grew up since literally the womb watching baseball. My brother played up until college, so I was always the little sister on the bleachers. And my dad would kind of coach me, and I kind of he gave me a coach's perspective so that I could understand the game as a player. So that's kind of how that started.
That's awesome. China, hit me up. Let's hear it.
So I'm from a little small town, so the sports was everything. It's the way that we made friends. It's the way to connect with people. So that's how I was brought up. I first fell in love with basketball in 3rd grade and just stuck with it. And then somehow, some way, I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And I came to UCF, started playing rugby. Still, I don't even know how I got into that, but hey, it's fun. I just love sports. And then when I saw Hitting the Field, I was like, all right, this is it. Sports is just everything to me. So
that's awesome. China, when did you start playing for UCF rugby? Recently or a while back?
I've been playing for 2 years now. I started in fall of 2018. So
that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. All right. So it's awesome to hear how all of our stories are so different but so similar at the same time. It's funny how certain situations work out for us. All right, so here on to the next one. We're just going to break it down. We all know we've had to overcome obstacles being women in sports, but I want to hear your stories. Can any of you guys pick a specific time or a specific story where you're like, excuse me?
For me, I think it was because I knew I wanted to go into production going into college, but I didn't know specifically what. So when I decided I wanted to go into sports broadcasting, I definitely when I would tell my friends, they'd be like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
The guys, they're like, yeah, okay. And because they just assume that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think the most heartbreaking one was coming from actual females. You'd think they'd encourage you to be in this man's world, and be successful. But I remember a couple of them were like, "Oh, you're only doing it to impress the boys. You don't actually know what you're talking about." So
right.
It's hearing that from females is just it's why? You'd think you'd want to encourage each other to be as successful as possible, but it's just a part of the industry, unfortunately.
Right. Most definitely. I remember I chose the same major you did, and branching out into that was a big leap for me because I had the same thing. I had a lot of backlash. I was like, aren't you supposed to be like supporting me in this cause, not like basically bringing me down? So yeah, no, I totally get that. Emily, shoot me.
For me, it was more like in high school. So I grew up watching baseball, as I like told you guys. And so when I was friends with all the baseball players because I played softball. So we were always like we had the same schedules and we'd go like the games like around the same time. And so when baseball season would come up and it was like the playoffs or whatever, and we'd start talking about it, some of the guys would try to like mansplain it to me, like, oh, so like see the guy hits the ball and then he runs and I'm like, yeah, I know it's called a double. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And so it was more just like little like microaggressions, I guess you could call it, where it's just like, oh, like she doesn't know what she's talking about.
No. It's like, who are you to judge my knowledge of what I know about this game? Yeah. Been there. I get that. China.
For me, like you, Jess, I'm a ref for basketball. So being a female and reffing older men, it just doesn't seem to mesh well. I literally had one guy told me, who's like, who are you? You're not even supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be a ref. And I just took a moment and I'm like, sir, I know way more than you. So it's like, who are you to tell me what I can? I'm certified. I know my calls. I don't care who wins or loses. Like my judgment is my judgment. So I definitely now it's not as bad because I've earned the respect. But why do I even have to earn the respect? Like if I'm certified and I know how to do my job, then why do I need to prove that to anybody?
Yeah, so you a question.
Yeah. I relate to that last sentence you said a lot, China, because I remember talking when I moved to UCF, I had to pick up from the rink that I was at and go to a new rink and officiate all these new men's league players, all these new college players, whatever you want to call it over there. And one of my supervisors, someone that I really looked up to, was like, I hate to be the one to tell you this. He goes, most referees, when they step on the ice, they have the respect. They will lose the respect if people don't respect them. You get what I'm saying? Like if they don't do an adequate enough job. But he goes, as a female, you don't have any respect when you step on that ice for the first time. He goes, you will be the one that has to earn it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You got to break it to me how, like, the honest truth. And it's unfortunate that us women, like in any situation, reffing or not, we don't automatically get the equal respect. We always have to gain it. And it's unfortunate. And I told you guys the other night, like tell all the viewers, but so I've been reffing, like I said, for a long time now. And the other day we had high school states and this kid didn't like that he lost. And he was like, and he called me a dyke. And I was just like, it's unfortunate that some people in this world have to put someone else down to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Brush it off my shoulder because I know my work. No, it's unfortunate, but
I probably would have lost my job, Jess.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I got this.
The bigger person here.
Exactly. All right. So when we think about women who have failed or faced some major obstacles in their career, who do you guys think of?
Personally, the first person that comes to my mind is Serena Williams. She's such an icon for tennis. Like already as it is, like you say Serena Williams, people are like, oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. And she's a female tennis player. She's an African American female tennis player, to put it at that. And she had a baby. And she's still one of the best tennis players in the world. I just think that's crazy. Like the amount of like backlash she gets for being an African American woman in tennis, and then she had a baby, and she's just like proving everyone like, hey, I know who I am. Stop trying to bring me down because you don't know who you are.
I have to agree with you on that also, because I remember when people were coming after her for her outfits and she's like, what do you want me to do? She was like, this is my body. What do you want me to wear? How do you, and I also remember when the referee, she was like, if a male said, like she got a technical or something like that for calling him, I think, what did he, a liar? I think
Yeah.
And he gave her a technical and she was like, if a male player ever said this to you, it would be brushed off. Why? Because me, a mother, has to fall under a category where you're going to penalize me. So I definitely, great pick. What's another one we got?
For me, it would have to be Simone Biles. I mean, it's just amazing what she's accomplished at such a young age. She's only 22. You know, she had to be adopted by her grandparents when she was so little because her mother just abused drugs. And then especially with the whole Dr. Larry Nasser thing, it's disgusting that you had to face abuse from something, like it's the team doctor. You should never have to worry about that. And it was just disgusting. But she overcame that and more. She's now the most decorated female gymnast. So it's just awesome to see what she's done with every obstacle she's had to overcome in her life.
Did you see on Twitter that I guess USA Gymnastics or whatever their correct pronunciation, they tweeted her and said happy birthday, and she basically attacked them and was like, why don't you guys do the right thing?
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, go Simone, right? Standing up for her, I love that. No, she's just amazing all around.
Yep, she's one of those women that's gonna like not only stand up for herself but stand up for the whole field.
She got penalized for doing moves that other people couldn't do. That's what
I remember reading that.
I cannot, but that makes no sense.
Good for her though. She's like,
I know.
I'm gonna still do it.
Be scared of her,
right?
She has like 3 skills named after her.
Yeah,
it's something ridiculous with that. There's like 3 Zabiles. So
See,
cool.
I don't think gymnastics. Nothing against gymnasts; they're amazing. Gymnastics isn't like an American. I wouldn't say it's not an American sport, but it's not something that every household knows. And let's be real, everyone in America knows who that girl is.
Yeah,
Absolutely everyone.
Right.
China, do you have anyone that you could name?
I'm not just gonna go with anyone. I'm gonna go with a team here. I'm gonna go with the USA Women's National Team. The soccer team.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I have to. I think that we've seen what they've been through, and they're still fighting, which is crazy to me. This team continues to win, continues to show little girls all around. Not even little girls, little kids, boys and girls. Like it don't matter who you are, that you can do anything you put your mind to. As long as you stick together as a team, play as a team player. But also speak up for things that you think that are wrong. Like it's just mind blowing to me that they've won many times, right? Which is still not to bash the men's team, but more than the men's team.
A heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not trying to bash them, but I'm just saying, and they still don't get the respect that they deserve. People were literally upset at them because they were celebrating that they won. It's like because their celebration was too inappropriate or just like what? Like, come on, really? You got to think of something. Like you can't bash them for you guys are winners. Like, but let me just bash your celebration.
Yeah.
So it's just mind blowing me.
I think it's awesome too because it's an all female team. And I remember I went out to eat with my friends during the finals. I forget what it's called. And we walk into this restaurant and every TV has it on and everyone is watching an all-female sport. Like it was just so it was amazing to watch. It's empowering. Everyone was cheering. It was like if it was a Super Bowl. Like everyone was so into the game and like it was just awesome to see like that females could have that impact in the sports industry.
Oh yeah. USA Hockey had a situation a couple years ago where the women's Olympic team, some of them have like everyday jobs and some of them just work off of their endorsements that they've made, their advertisement deals. And USA Hockey, the girls team, they said, hey, we're not going to play in the Olympics unless you give us like a little bit more money. And it became so large that the men's team, the Olympic men's team, were like, you know what, like we're not going to go unless they go. And it was like, I mean, you don't really hear much stories about where like men back up the females. So when it happens, you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's got real.
Exactly. A quote that I read, it made me think of it. It was like, you can break down a woman temporarily, but a real woman will always pick up the pieces, rebuild herself, and come back stronger than ever. And I think every single female that we chose just proves how true that statement actually is.
Yeah.
All right. So for this segment, I said, let's make this one an interesting one. I want to hear your favorite female story in sports. Anybody want to start this section off?
I can
start. Okay, go ahead, Kayla.
I had to go with Allison Felix. She went back to the World Championships 10 months after giving birth, 10 months after giving a birth with many complications, and she beat Usain Bolt's record for most gold medals at the World Championships in the 4x400 meter relay. I mean, anything you accomplish after pregnancy, honestly, is just amazing.
Right.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, why isn't this all over the place? You know, I thought like it definitely didn't get into as much coverage as it deserves, but I was like, this is amazing. Like, how could you possibly do that? Like, I couldn't do it if I trained for a year, and she did it 10 months after popping out a baby. Like, it was amazing.
I am woman, hear me roar.
Yes.
Yeah. We tweet to
For
that.
me, going off of like, when I think of women in sports, I don't know why, but my brain automatically goes to tennis players. I don't know why, but Coco Gauff, I think that's how you say her name.
16,
the youngest tennis
right?
player professionally. She's a beast. She's like 16.
Crazy.
She beat both of the Williams sisters. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this girl's insane. And then on top of Coco, there's this Puerto Rican tennis player called Monica Puig, and she got the first and only gold medal for Puerto Rico in the sport of tennis.
That's amazing.
It was crazy. When she got back to the island, it was like they just won World War II or something. Like, it was insane.
So my mom's Puerto Rican, and I remember she was watching TV, like, so excited. She's like, this is it. Like, this is going to be everything for my country. So it just, it was awesome to watch that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I knew Coco was going to be special when she beat both Williams sisters. When you do that alone, you're set. She's set for life.
She's 16. 16 years old. She's done more than I have. At 16. Crazy.
And she's a Florida girl, too. That makes it even better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with Maya Moore. Like I said, I'm a basketball girl. So she's one of the best players in UConn's women's history. She put her professional career for the Minnesota Lynx on hold just so she can help those that have been incarcerated that shouldn't be incarcerated. So far she's gotten 2 men free. I think any athlete, anybody who uses their platform for a good cause is a winner in my book. And the fact that she's a female doing it without, it's just like, it's more, it goes beyond basketball. Like, I'm going to do something that I feel in my heart that is going to benefit others. So I respect her so much for it. The game misses her, but, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just playing basketball.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. That's also, even, I guess that we can, like, we were talking about teams earlier, but you know how UCF baseball, the men's team is like, was having a heck of a season this year, and last year they were also having a heck of a season. I think one of my favorites is one of the reporters that I had a class with was like, I don't think anybody's showing how good our softball team is. And one of the girls in the interview was like, we know that we're kicking butt. Like, we don't need the attention if they're not going to give it to us, because eventually someone's going to notice it. I wish I knew who said that, because I would choose her, because I was like, good for you, knowing that you guys are just that people are going to see what you guys are doing.
Right.
All right.
Piggybacking off of that, I was actually a sports for baseball and softball beat reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, baseball is like gonna be good, like everyone's gonna be with it. But I was like, softball, you guys don't understand how good our softball team is.
Yeah, it's pretty
like
good.
These girls this year alone broke like program record for like like a couple program records. Aaliyah White was about to break a program record, being the pitcher with the most wins. She was like right there, but then the season got cut off. But like, these girls were on fire, and it frustrated me because no one was like acknowledging it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think for what I used the most with my UCF passes, what my tuition paid for, was baseball, softball, and spinning classes, but it was probably softball the most. I swear, always softball. Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess we'll go to our closing segment. I said for this last segment of the show, I want to ask all your opinions on the future for women. What's next? What do you think will happen going forward?
I think, after Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant's passing, people got a glimpse of how good she was as a young age in basketball. And I think her passing brought a lot of awareness to females in basketball. And I think that's something that'll continue. I think people always remember her as wanting to make it wanted to make it more known, wanting to make it that far. So I think it's just her impact goes beyond, so I think the future of female sports is definitely very bright.
Most definitely. And he made being a girl dad, Kobe,
Yes.
something
Cool.
very much so to be proud of.
Yeah. For sure.
I feel like we've come such a long way, but like how far we've gotten is only the beginning. Like there's so much more that women in sports are capable of, but you know, like we have a little work to do because there's barriers that we need to break down and walls that we need to break down in order to reach that. But as soon as we do, it's over. Men's sports too, we're taking over.
Exactly.
I think that, you know, it's important to keep that representation in the media. Just allow more little girls to see female athletes and what they're doing and the sports they're playing. And, you know, just proving and showing that they can be anything they want to be. I think it's going to get to the point where people are going to be like, if somebody tells you, oh, you're playing like a girl, somebody's going to take that as a compliment. I play like a girl, and I'm good at it. So I think, like I said, that reputation is going to be huge going forward, and just seeing it now is just tremendously, not only for little girls, but like I said, kids from all ages are seeing that. So
yeah,
we've
already come so far as females, like even to like 10 years ago, you know. So like I think it's only going up from here for sure.
Right. There was only a handful amount of female athletes that were known 10 years ago. What would you say? The Williams sisters, of like the few tennis players, maybe a soccer player in there. And now you've got hundreds that like people can name now. One of the rinks that I work at in Tampa, it was the training center for the Team USA, the women's hockey team. And it's one of the biggest rinks I've ever worked at. And they've got this one huge room, and it's called Her Story instead of History. And it's called Her Story, and it's got pictures of all the girls that won the gold medal with their signatures, everything. And it's like a little snippet of history. And it's like, that's so cool that somebody's going out of their way to be like, hey, they need to be recognized.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
just bouncing off the 10-year thing, like, you know, back then, I just want to, like, I think now we're seeing more sports come about. You know, like back then we didn't talk about gymnastics. You know, we didn't talk about football. We just talked about hockey. You know, we didn't talk about rugby. You know, so it's just seeing how far we came, and now these sports are like, it's okay to play these sports. Like you can be a girl and play these sports and be amazing at it. So
yeah, I think females feel more empowered to take, you know, a position in that, you know, where even again, like 10 years ago before, it was like they'd be looked down on a lot. You know, it was hard for them to get past all the scrutiny they'd face going into these sports. So I think now it's kind of more of an open playing field. Like, let's go, let's keep playing, go do gymnastics, go play basketball, go do this. Like, I think they feel more encouraged and empowered to play sports.
Also, I feel the younger generation, not the youngest, but someone younger than us, they almost feel that they need to do something to show other generations, hey, you can do this. Do it. You're going to be unreal at it too.
Yes, definitely.
I think women, obviously, we have changed the world, but we're going to continue to do so.
Absolutely.
Before I close it, anybody have any final comments they want to say? I thought this was an awesome show.
I just want to, like, I think as women, you know, it's on us to keep on empowering other women, you know? So I think, you know, for us being young adults, just in order for us to, you know, encourage the next generation for them to do the same. But, you know, just leading by example, I think that's going to be huge as well. So
we've already accomplished something. Like, this is the first lady show on Hitting the Field. So
boom,
we're already moving up.
I love that. One thing that sticks in my memory is I'll never forget. So I joined Hitting the Field like maybe 2.5 years ago, and it was coming to auditions, and I was like, there's never been a female host. I've only been on air like 3 times. I'm kind of a newbie compared to everyone. And the host at the time, he pulled me aside and he was like, just audition. What do you have to lose? You don't get it? Okay, what's the end of the world? So I went up against, I think, 6 people, and I ended up getting it. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I am woman. Hear me roll. You guys, like, don't scare me. I hope I scare you.
Yeah.
So that was like a big one under my belt. It was just awesome because having the people that told me to audition, it was like, you know, they believe in me. They're like, who cares? Like, you got this. So it's like, I love this show, but well, thank you ladies so much for having this episode come to life. It was an honor to be a part of so something so strong and like beautiful and powerful for future generations, male and female. Like I said, everyone stay safe because we got a crazy world going on right now, and we soon, and I hope to get on campus soon. But also for all our followers, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Hitting the Field, and we'll see you next time.